Hello and welcome back to the Josh Cahill and Swiss 001 show, your favorite aviation podcast. Right, Nick?
Yes, exactly. We are back. It's been a week and we're on a streak now. We're doing another episode every week.
And that's fantastic. And I wanted to take the opportunity before we're going to get into this episode today to say thank you for the amazing feedback on YouTube, on Spotify, reading all the comments and the love and the support. And pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, the comments were nice after I filtered out all the hate comments about us. But thanks for the feedback.
It was great. And we haven't seen each other in over a month, and we haven't really caught up properly on what has been happening in the aviation industry. And I have been on a couple of trips ever since we recorded the first episodes. Yeah. And have you been traveling as well?
No, I've been in university and doing math.
That sounds fantastic. But I was busy once again. Do you want to ask me where I went and what I experienced?
Let's get to that later, because I think we have to start off with a breaking news that I really want to get off the table. It's clear that in a very short time, I hope, we're going to record another collaboration video with all the YouTubers. You know why?
You tell me.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure most of you guys have seen it, but Global Airlines has made a comeback after like half a year of silence.
That is incredible. That is fantastic. I saw the news yesterday.
Yeah.
Every time Global Airlines drops something, it gets shared in all the aviation WhatsApp groups that I'm in. And I think we have still the global WhatsApp group from the inaugural flight, right?
Yeah. The YouTubers, we all made a group chat in May when we flew the A380 flight, and we still have it. And it was my jaw was a little bit on the floor when I saw an Airbus A340 with Global Airlines painted on it. Yes, they're staying with their
stickers. We gotta be accurate here. They put their stickers once again. They got them out the drawer and they put it on an Airbus A340. And God knows what they want to do with it. Like, what do you think is what is this all about?
So I think this is interesting. James Asquith, the guy from Global Airlines, he posted this video quite out of the blue yesterday. And in the intro, he talks about how everything didn't go super well, to be honest. He was talking about how their goals were quite lofty, and with the golden age of travel, it was a little bit of a stretch.
And the plane, the 380, their original first plane, has been in storage for 6 months now.
Yeah, because I guess they have to do so many checks, and it's still doing. I don't know what they're doing with the A380.
It's a heavy maintenance check. We talked about that in the first episode.
Yeah,
exactly.
The C check, but we don't really know what the stage of that is. So they just got a new one.
What do you like? What do you think they're going to do with this plane?
Yeah, so when I saw the clip, it was the registration of the plane was the Niner Hotel Sun, and I was like, hey, wait, I kind of remember this plane that now has Global Airlines stickers on it, because I actually had it in the flight sim, because I installed a lot of like liveries for the A340 onto my computer, and I was like, dude, I kind of remember this plane. So I looked it up on my flight sim, and it belonged, or it still does, to High Fly, right? And I looked at the livery, and it still has the same livery from High Fly. It just has a Global Airlines sticker on it. I don't know what they're going to do with it. Do you have any idea?
It's still a High Fly plane, right? They still don't fly under their own registration.
No.
Probably never will. Once again, it's a High Fly plane, which was actually in the past couple of months flying to Antarctica from Cape Town. Those flights for those super filthy, crazy rich people?
Yeah.
They go there, they land there, then they stay there for a night, and they fly back, and that flight costs you like $60,000, $70,000.
Have you ever done that?
That's what that plane has. No. I took a flight once on old Afrojet from Chile to King George Island in Antarctica. I landed there. Then I took a little wander around the island, went on a little boat with two Russians. They showed me some penguins. and some glaciers. And then I went back to the airport and flew back to Chile. So I was at the Antarctica for a good 4.5 hours, and that trip cost me $4,000. Wow. But that was also part of my goal to travel or to fly into every continent on Earth, which I then accomplished. It was a very small plane, nothing fancy. 120 seats. Smelled really bad of sweat when we came back because we picked up some tourists there who did like hardcore hiking for a couple of days, and obviously didn't have a shower. It was quite interesting. But good luck to James and his new 340. I just came back from the Dubai Airshow.
Oh yeah, how was that?
That was good. Do you remember we went to Paris together?
Yeah,
earlier this year?
We even did a live stream together.
We did a live stream, and it was quite popular. I think that was also like a reason why we started this podcast.
Yeah,
because it was quite a comedy show. However, Dubai Airshow, 4 or 5 times the size.
Really?
Incredible.
So much bigger?
The planes did so much bigger. The planes they had there on display, including the Boeing 777X. A lot of private jets, a lot of military jets, A-10, F-15, JF-17, the Pakistani fighter, and the Tejas plane of India, which unfortunately crashed on the very last day. Did you hear that?
Yeah, apparently it did like one of those negative G turns that you do a lot, and they lost control. The problem is, like, I always like admire these pilots that do these crazy air shows on the jets. You know, we either like whether it's one of these French jets, the Rafales, or an American like F-35, or even like this Indian light combat jet, the Tejas. I think it's like you kind of almost like lose consciousness sometimes, right? And I think that's what happened here.
I once sat in the back of an L-39. You know the Albatross?
Yeah, the trainer.
Which is one of the most popular like trainer planes in the world. So, and I experienced what it's like to go through like 7 Gs.
I've never done that. How was it?
It hurts. It's pain. So you get on the plane. It is really painful because once you recover, you hit like 6, 7, 8 Gs at times, right? So it is, everything hurts, your teeth, it's like an elephant like sitting on your chest.
Interesting.
And your vision gets smaller and smaller.
Yeah, you get into a tunnel
until you like pass out. Like I was really good because I watched Top Gun probably like 17 times, and I knew
that was
how
the way
to breathe.
To prepare. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I prepared for that flight, and I was like, you know, so I didn't pass out, but like because we flew in a formation with 3 other planes, which is really scary. So this is like the scary part. You're so close to each other, and you're afraid to like crash into each other. That was for me a lot scarier. But like after half an hour, I felt really sick, and I never feel sick. I love adrenaline. I love speed, but I felt so bad, and I was just like the last 10 minutes. I was just like, because I had cameras there, no?
Yeah.
Because I was filming a YouTube video, and I was just like, Josh, don't throw up.
Did you feel like throwing up though?
I felt like throwing up in the last 5 minutes, and I was just like holding it together. Like I haven't posted the video yet, but it's my plan to do that this month.
Has the jet pilot told you how many, like what's the percent of passengers that actually throw up into the airplane? Like it must be like every second.
When you have a briefing before that, they say nobody ever gets sick, and they said it's not normal to get sick. It just happens in your head.
Really?
Like they could tell you all. Yeah, they tell you all these funny stories, and they said it's like totally cool, nothing, don't worry about anything. They don't really brief you even properly.
Really?
Just like get in the back of the jet. Yeah, it was in Latvia.
But is it like a serious operation? I mean, I remember you told me to.
It's like a serious operation. They performed at the Dubai Airshow as well.
Okay.
You wanted to join. So I mean, they are serious, but I think because they do that all the time, and they think like, whatever, you just sit in the back.
It's kind of the bread and butter.
You have an ejection seat there as well, though. Worst case, you can eject.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I was planning to do. Anyways, in the last 10 minutes, I was just like, don't throw up, Josh. It's going to be so embarrassing. You, the big aviator who goes to all those crazy countries, like if you don't throw up in here, that's the end of your career. So
Right.
you're still so strapped in. So they open the canopy, and they have to unstrap you, and then you have to get out. And like it's a very tiny airport in Latvia. So I walked a little bit, and there was a little tree, like a little forest, and I was like sitting at the tree for like a good 10 minutes,
Just to get
breathing
grounded
and
again?
like yes, because I felt
reconnect with
really-
nature.
reconnect with the world, because that was pretty intense. So
Yeah. I
would
can't
I
wait to
do it
see your
again?
video on that.
Yeah, same. I wouldn't probably do it again though.
Really?
Yeah, but it's
Would
off
you-
my bucket list now. With a Eurofighter or something like that, probably yes. But
Okay,
I would
'cause,
probably
yeah,
change my
that's a
mind
lot
afterwards
faster.
as well.
But like, would you recommend I do it for a video? Because I've always wanted to do that.
Well, you are Mr. Flight Simulator, and I think you should.
Okay.
What like would you do it? Are you brave enough?
Oh yeah, absolutely. 100%. They,
Oh, well,
I mean,
then
once
there you
again,
go.
this is
I'll
their bread
sign
and
you
butter.
up.
Also, the good thing is that I'm not the one flying the plane, so like I'm not really worried about that.
I was flying the plane as well, actually, for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. What did you do? Did you do any like aileron rolls? Any like stuff?
No, I didn't do anything. I just like flew in a circle. Because the thing is, when you're really high and you go really fast, it doesn't look like that you go really fast.
No.
But as soon as you move the stick, and especially if you push the nose down,
Okay.
you like kind of like become weightless. You know, it's just really,
it's 1G.
really weird.
It's 1G.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
negative G's, I think
Yeah.
it is, right?
Yeah.
And then you become weightless, like you float. And that's a strange feeling as well. Like, it wasn't for me. I love roller coasters. I love fast cars, but I don't like fast jets. That's what I've learned. But I've done it, and it was actually pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, talking about crazy flight experiences, you had another one that I'm jealous of, the DC-8. Tell me about it.
That was incredible. The DC-8. I'm sure not a lot of people know the DC-8. So I went to Greensboro in North Carolina, and the DC-8 was like introduced like 70 years ago as a
From the
counterpart.
50s, by the way, one of the first
Yeah,
jet
yeah.
airliners, really. Right?
Exactly, with the Boeing 707, like they've revolutionized air travel for the
Yeah.
whole world.
Yeah.
And there's only 2 left in the world. One is with the Samaritan Purse.
Okay.
It's like a humanitarian aid organization.
Why would they fly a plane like that though? Like a humanitarian aid?
Because they go, aid and field hospitals. They go and wherever the disaster struck, they go. So they're a Christian organization,
Okay.
and they have a lot of donors that donate a lot of money to them. And they
I
have
see.
3 planes actually. They have a 767, a 757, and the DC-8. And the DC-8 was a combi, so you have like 30 seats in the back.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have like 8 pallet positions as a cargo. And that plane was originally delivered to Finnair 56 years ago, exactly. And there's only 2 left. One is in Peru, flying with an airline there. One earlier was retired in Congo, and that one now is going to be retired as well. So I was invited to come to Greensboro and to be on the very last flight, and that was incredible.
All right. How was the descent like? Because
How was the descent like?
Because one thing that I know about the DC-8 and that I always point out is that's the only airplane that can put out the reverse thrust mid-flight. No kidding. So you can literally fall out of the skies. They actually used it at NASA to train the space shuttle pilots, to the astronauts, right? To simulate the re-entry on the shuttle. Because, I mean, obviously the shuttle was a glider, so it would re-enter the Earth extremely quickly at a very high descent rate. And to simulate that, they used the DC-8 because it could descend at literally, 5,000, 6,000 feet per minute because it could put out the reverse thrust mid-flight. It's insane.
I love those facts, and I love that you really read all the comments where they said Swiss didn't prepare properly for the last podcast, and now you smashing facts after facts. I love that.
The good thing is I have a whole list printed out of Chat GPT facts. But no, the thing is the good thing is that I can nerd now, so I can talk about stuff that I talk about in my videos, right? Because there's quite a lot of things to say about the DC-8. For example, I remember we talked in our last episode. You asked me, can an A380 can go supersonic, and I said basically no, unless it dove. Unless you go put the nose down and make this plane pretty much fly to the ground, and that's what they did. the DC-8 is a plane that actually has gone supersonic when they did a test dive. So it's a plane with quite a lot of history to it and crazy flying to it. But what did you do on the flight? Did you do anything crazy, like flying upside down?
No, nothing crazy. I mean, obviously, I went into the cargo bay because it's a combi.
Yeah.
And we went to Daytona for a day trip, and there was an aviation day, so the plane was there on display. Met a lot of subscribers there, and a few even came to me and said, "Hey, Josh, we love the new podcast." So that's very good. So I appreciated that. And
yeah. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Like it's always nice when it's an aviation university now, Riddle down there in Daytona. It's very famous. And lots of subscribers. They were really, really kind, really lovely, and got great feedback on the podcast. And so I was there for the day, and then we took the plane back. And this is it. This is Bristol's very last mission. But it's now retired.
The DC-8.
And I was on the plane. Yeah.
Yeah, you were on it. So, but they have the new engines though, right?
They have the CFM 56. I think that's the same engines that the 737 uses,
and the same engines that the A340 uses as well. Maybe
exactly. And it's a quad plane as well, right? The DC-8 has the size of the 737, but it has 4 engines, which is quite interesting. It has a lot of power. And the old original engines, I think it was a Pratt Whitney.
No, it wasn't.
You can't find them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a
proper jet engine.
GT3C engine, I think, and they were so loud. The plane
very loud.
It's so crazy because, like, even like 40 years ago, when a plane flew by, like in the city, you had to like stop your conversation until the plane was done flying over, because planes used to be so much louder. Like I sometimes forget about that. Even in my childhood, I remember when I was at the airport, planes were so much louder than they are today.
That's right.
And
I was
really
like earlier, like I think 2 years ago, I was flying on the 737-200 in Air Zimbabwe, and it still had the original old engines.
Oh, okay.
You know, the ones that very thin, that look like
I think those were turbojets as well. Yeah, turbojets. That's crazy.
Yeah,
they still fly that? I don't even know.
Yeah.
How was that flight back then in Africa?
Oh, that was amazing. Like, can I recommend everyone to watch the video? But like, this is the beauty of my job, that I sometimes chase down those planes that nobody really gets to fly anymore. So I tried it once and I failed. And then I was really lucky. I went to Tanzania and with the mission to fly on that 737-200, because I've never been on one.
But what do you mean by you failed? So you booked a flight hoping you were going to be on that plane?
Yeah, I was hoping, and then I think an Embraer F145 showed up instead, and that was heartbreaking because when you went all the way to Johannesburg, then I was there, and I was like, "This is not a 737-200. What is this? What is this? I didn't sign up for this."
Did a teardrop shed from your eye? Did that happen?
Yeah, like I was really angry. I wasn't angry. I was just like, damn, I have to come back here now. But I love Africa. Yeah. And we talk about Africa a little more later today, because we wanted to talk about African aviation a little bit more, because I was flying a lot in Africa. But yeah, this plane was amazing and the crew was lovely. They invited me after the flight. They invited me to the flight deck. I've never seen anything that old in my life, but it was so beautiful.
We were talking about?
No, the DC-8 was just as old, but when I was like talking about the 737-200. Yeah. But yeah, there's still a few gems out there, you know, they're worth chasing. And that was it. That was one of the last. I don't think many people in the world will get the chance to fly a DC-8. I was probably one of the last proper passengers on a DC-8 in the world.
You're a special one.
And that 70 years of DC-8 history, Douglas, Boeing and Douglas, that what created modern aviation, the 707 and the DC-8 is like, the 707 is long gone. You can still fly them, I think, in military aviation, but not with the original engines. Yeah. That might be, but yeah, it came to an end, and I was part of it. And that video was out yesterday, because we post our podcast on Sundays. So yesterday, if you have watched my video, then you probably enjoyed the DC-8. Is there like a plane for you where you say, hey, I still want to fly this, that's really high on your list?
The problem is that most of them are gone. I think sometimes I'm really happy to live in the current times, because I can do stuff like YouTube. Like 30 years ago, you couldn't do that. But like in terms of planes, I think I'm almost like missing out, because I was born in around 2004, right? So I'm quite young. And like nowadays, all these planes are very digitalized, and it's very hard to find one that, isn't. Unless you're flying like a little Cessna. So like DC-8, the chance DC-8, the chance is gone. Concorde, the chance is definitely gone. You were never on the Concorde.
There might be Boom Supersonic is coming.
But that is a digitalized airplane. Like I find it interesting when planes are like analog, right? But were you ever on a Concorde? I mean, you're genuinely old enough to have been on one. Wait, how old were you?
I'm 29. Just for everyone asking, I'm 29. I don't know why he thinks I'm like 49 or 59. I'm still young.
You were like
have I been on a Concorde? What do you think?
The Concorde flew.
Neither do I have the money, neither the age to have been on a Concorde. I remember the Concorde. I remember the news. When you were born, when the Concorde, you weren't even on this planet when the Concorde crashed, right?
Yeah. And it was 2001.
You didn't even exist. Can you imagine that? You didn't even exist.
Bad times.
But yeah,
no, just
bad
kidding.
times. But now you blessed the world.
You were a teenager
with
when the Concorde was retired. So one thing, you could have used that chance, like the 747-200.
Yeah, but I had no money.
Yeah,
I'm poor. I come from a poor family, so there was no chance that I would ever even consider flying with a Concorde. But I will be on Boom, hopefully.
Yeah, Boom. But like this, so like the idea of having like even a flight engineer, like with 3 people sitting in the cockpit flying the plane, that's just so interesting. Like maybe you can find a 747-200 out there. Do you know of any of that?
A 747-200,
like the old one, like the one.
Yeah, you can find one with the Iranian military. They have a 747-200.
Oh, great! I'll just book a ticket with them. Very realistic.
Yeah, go to Iran. I actually went to Iran a couple of times, and they have because of the sanctions.
But can you just fly?
They have all those old planes because of the sanctions.
Can you fly the military, like on the military one? Like, can you just do that?
I heard from other plane spotters that it does occasionally fly on civilian routes. So you can fly from Tehran to Mashhad or to Isfahan. That apparently happens. But if you want to try Mahan Air, still operates a 747-300, which is the last in the world as well. Yeah. But that's all due to the sanction because they can't buy any new planes. So they really have to use what they have. So they have a lot of Airbus A300s still there, a lot of 310s. They have Fokker 100s. So a lot of stuff is still there in operation, which you won't see anywhere else in the world. But since the recent war between Israel and Iran, you can't get individual visas anymore to go to Iran. So we have to wait for better times to come. But I always call like Iran is like the aviation, like Disneyland for aviation, because you have all those old birds there. So maybe you should plan a aviation tour in Iran.
Do they still fly the Tupolev Tu-154? Do you know?
No, they had a lot. They had a big fleet of Russian jets.
Yep.
But when I was young, it wasn't just the Concorde that crashed, but you would always see news coming out of Iran that another Tupolev crashed.
Yeah.
And then I think at one time they decided just to ground them all.
Like talking about like Disneyland, I remember I made a video about it. The Iranian military, they did something to Tupolev Tu-154 where they would strap a person onto the vertical stabilizer, so the tail wing of the Tupolev Tu-154, and they would test their own ejection seat for the fighter jets, and they would take off the Tupolev Tu-154, huge airliner with 3 engines, like a tri-jet, and they would take it off, and then they would eject that person out of the airliner. It's absolutely insane.
That is a story that I haven't heard yet, and it sounds very dangerous.
No, it's super interesting. So yeah, I mean,
the fact itself, like flying a Tupolev, is already very dangerous.
Yeah, like this is like the thing. This is like the thing. Like in terms of exotic airplanes that are on my list. So like the older planes, not very realistic anymore. But like the modern ones, I mean, obviously exotic is interesting. I would like to be on a Sukhoi Superjet or whatever still is flying around from Tupolev. Or even the Chinese Comac. You have done that?
I've done them all. I've done the Comac. The 909 is a 909, right?
Yeah, no, the C919. called.
Yeah, exactly. I did that on China Eastern in Air China. I was one of the first. It was great. Like, it feels like any other plane, nothing special.
Yeah.
I've done the Sukhoi Superjet in Russia a couple of times. Also a nice jet. I actually really like it. It's not that bad. And but if you want to fly, so until 2019, you could still fly a Tupolev 154.
Yeah.
You know, the trijet one, and it was flying for Alrosa. Alrosa is like an airline that operates in Siberia. They fly usually to the mining towns, and it was flying still in a regular passenger service.
Were you on it?
So, no, never. That was my big dream. I remember during COVID.
I would have loved to see the interior. I bet it looked like a caravan from the 1970s. You know what I'm talking about? Like the old Soviet style. Yeah. Oh, that would have been amazing.
It looked pretty amazing. I was inside one in Kiev, in Ukraine once. They have one, they have an aviation university as well, or like a technical university. Okay. And they have one 154 in a big hangar there. So I was allowed to like go inside and walk around it. Beautiful plane, looks really great. But I'm really hoping for the day that North Korea is opening again. One of my best friends, Rowan, who is running, his job is actually running tours to North Korea. And we said once the country's opening, we're going to organize a North Korea aviation tour where you get to fly the Tupolevs, the Ilyushins, and all these old forgotten planes that only operate in North Korea.
And eat the Air Koryo burger, right? Air Koryo is notoriously famous for the burger. You flew on it, though.
The Air Koryo. I've never been on an Air Koryo. I've been to North Korea. I took a train. Can you imagine that? The number one F geek goes to North Korea.
That's embarrassing.
And on a train.
I think
I don't know what happened
they
that
used
day.
to fly from Beijing, right? From China.
They still fly from Beijing, yeah. Every day.
Oh, you just can't get on it. All right, that makes sense.
No, like they don't give out visas to Westerners. So if you're Russian, you can, but they still have the service. But they fly on a Tupolev 214, which is the kind of like the 757 of the Russians.
You mean the 104, yeah.
214.
214. Oh yeah, whatever it is. It's just numbers. It's a
exactly,
Russian
and it flies with Cubana as well. Very funny story. I don't know. Like, gotta share that real quick. I was in Venezuela in Caracas, and I was booked on Cubana, the national airline of Cuba, and they have a Tupolev 214, and they have also an Ilyushin 96, which I'm really eager to fly.
The 747 kind of one. Yeah.
Exactly. I would say the 340 of Russia.
Yeah.
You know, and I've been chasing this plane for a long time. Haven't managed to get on it. But when I was on Cubana, I was sitting there in business class, and the purser came to me and he asked me where I was from, and I said I'm from Germany, and he said, oh, my son works in Germany, and we had a bit of a conversation. We took off, and then I asked him, I was very polite, and I said, hey, once we're on the ground in Havana, is it okay if I go visit the flight deck, because I'm an F geek, I love aviation. And then he came back 5 minutes. He said, yeah, pilot says just go there now. And I was like, oh, this is cool. So I went to the flight deck mid-flight. They still have an engineer as well.
Yeah. Just
as the DC-8. Still have an engineer, and they had a pilot observing there. So there were 4 pilots at the flight deck. And then he asked me, hey, do you want to come back for landing? And I said, say no more. So once we reached 10,000 feet, he asked me to come back. And I went there, and I was inside the flight deck. And I was just like, okay, there was the engineer, pilot observing, 2 pilots operating. It's like, where am I going to sit? And he said, you're not going to sit. You're going to stand behind the engineer. Just hold tight to his seat.
Now you've officially banned Cubana from European and American airspace.
So it's literally, I did a video about it. And I asked them, is it legal? And they said, Cuba, no problem. Literally what they said. So I was standing on the flight deck while landing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever done anything like this? Have you ever been standing while landing your Cessna?
No, I've never done that. I could probably, because I'm not that tall. I probably wouldn't reach the ceiling, but it sounds pretty stupid.
You do crazy stuff like this on your flight simulator gaming sessions.
Why would I want to simulate standing up while landing? That's the stupidest idea ever.
I always find it funny when I go on YouTube and they recommend your videos. And the other day I saw that you tried to get I think this is 737 airborne with a propeller. from
Oh,
a
yeah.
Cessna.
No, it was
Is
an
that correct?
A320. So I switched the engines. You know, the A320
Yeah.
has the CFM56, and I changed it to the Lycoming engine of a little Cessna 172, which has like 180 horsepower or something like that. So it's not
And
very
let me
powerful.
get, it did get airborne.
So
Not.
guess how many Cessna engines an A320 would need to fly?
That's a good question.
Guess.
I'd say 120.
I think it was 6,000. It was 6,000 engines.
You need 6,000 to get that beast airborne.
It's not even like the biggest airliner either. I wouldn't want to imagine how much it would be on like an A380. Global Airlines, that's an idea for you to try. I mean, come on. Why not?
But I love your creativity. So how do you come up with those ideas?
I don't know. I just, the thing is, I upload every day. So I kind of need to, in my head, I have a fountain of ideas, and I always write them down all day. You know, I have like, my notes app is like just crazy ideas. No one should ever hack into it though, because they're gonna maybe make an airplane manufacturing company and build some really nice airplanes. Some of my concepts make sense, you know, that I do on the channel. I always play around in the flight sim and like model aircraft and change them.
That is a great segue to our topic today, African aviation.
Exactly. I think we've gotten... I tried to get you into the topic of African aviation. So, you did a special flight very recently, didn't you? To the Ivory Coast, isn't it?
Yeah, and I got told off in the comments that I said Abidjan is the capital of the Ivory Coast.
Was it not?
Or Côte d'Ivoire? Côte d'Ivoire, do you speak French?
Côte d'Ivoire.
You do, right?
Côte
d'Ivoire.
Exactly.
Côte d'Ivoire.
Exactement.
Yeah, that's how they like to call themselves. They don't like the word Ivory Coast, apparently.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So yeah, I went there. No, I like announced that on the trip, and it was quite of a. I mean, everyone who has seen the video, it was quite of an interesting story. But I feel like this is sometimes Africa in a nutshell. I mean, I love Africa. Great people. I love their energy. I love really what they stand for and how they now bringing back all their old airlines. And Air Côte d'Ivoire is a new one. And yeah, it didn't go that well,
Why?
to be honest. But
What happened?
I mean, it started already at the check-in. I showed up at the business class check-in counter, and they couldn't find my booking. And apparently it was economy class because it was loaded wrongly into the system, apparently.
Where'd you book the ticket?
I booked a ticket on booking.com.
Oh,
right?
They're trustable.
Yeah.
I trust them.
If they're trustable, like they're pretty recommended.
They're definitely the most reliable ones that I know. But yeah, so it was.
Yeah, they're pretty reliable. But apparently, so what happened is it was a confirmed business class ticket, right? And when I entered the booking on the airline as well,
Yeah.
you know how you can use the PNR.
Yeah.
It also showed up as a confirmed business class ticket.
But
apparently, when I showed up, it was loaded wrongly into the system.
so it was their
but
back
that was
end. Okay.
But they blocked me before.
Oh, why?
They said they're going to explain it to me, what it is. But the airline, after I published my video, they blocked me everywhere.
Oh, like on social media?
On social media, they blocked me on X, they blocked me on Instagram, and they blocked everyone who commented on their social media.
That's the way that we handle criticism here as well on the podcast. So that's good. Good thinking. Good thinking, Côte d'Ivoire.
No, we're very much looking forward to see all the comments.
Yeah.
It's always, and if you have the time, if you listen to us on Spotify, give us a rating. We love your feedback. It really helps us like to pick topics or to improve and grow together with you guys.
We're just starting out. So wait, so back on Côte d'Ivoire. So you only flew the poor class?
No. So what happened is, I mean, there's a kind of a problem nowadays that a lot of people, they watch my videos, so they all kind of knew who I was, right? And I say that in a very humble way, but like a lot of airline,
Mr. Superstar.
No, but like a lot of airlines use my videos for training purposes. Like when I got to the gate, there were like some deadheading pilots for Air Cote d'Ivoire because they had training in Toulouse, I think, because there were 320 pilots, and they came to me. They said, "Oh, Josh, we watched your first video of Air Cote d'Ivoire. It was great. We appreciate that." And so yeah, so what a station manager then did, it was their very first flight, so I think they were really overwhelmed with everything as well, right? Everyone was trying to give me a different explanation. Some said, "Oh, someone at the HQ fucked up, somebody else screwed up somewhere else, and they said they're going to get in touch with me." What it really is, until today, I wasn't really given a proper reason from the airline because they blocked me, right? So I have no idea what really happened, which is quite interesting. Yeah, but so then boarded the plane. I think I accepted it. I mean, they gave me an economy class boarding pass, and I said, okay, whatever, you know.
Oh wow!
But
did you get any
it was important for me
or anything?
No, nothing. But for me, it was important at this moment to tell the story as it is, so that the airline can work on it.
Yeah, because
and it doesn't happen to anybody else.
That's
right?
like weird that they would book you into the wrong system on the like ticket on the system. Like how can that happen? Do they like enter the passengers on like a Google Sheets?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a travel agent, but somebody tried to explain it to me that maybe they load it because they have two different systems that they use to book, right? And then maybe perhaps because they have a premium economy, and maybe it showed up as premium economy because somebody else was telling me, "Oh, I was booked in premium economy."
And they confused that. Okay. But how was
I don't know. Like I don't really know what happened.
How was the economy flight? Was it any good? Like were they
Well, the thing is then they upgraded me.
Oh.
So I went to the plane, I went inside, I was sitting there, and then the station manager came and he said, "Josh, we really would love you to sit in premium economy," which at this time wasn't even certified, so it was not legal for me to sit there.
Oh, so the seats were not certified?
No, the seats were not certified, and they wanted to put me in there.
Great.
And then I was like, yeah, no. And then I sat there at premium economy. No joke. Like I was refusing at first because I didn't want any freebies or hands out, but they were really pushing. They were really pushing. And then, I said like, because they wouldn't leave without me moving to premium economy. Moved there, and then the station manager said, "Now I'm able to upgrade you to business class where you booked your ticket."
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and I was like,
chaotic.
"Are you sure?" Yeah, it was very chaotic. I went to the business class cabin, sat down, and then from there it was actually really great. I had like a cabin crew member called Frank. He was like fantastic. Yeah.
Was it?
You should have joined me.
Yeah.
Do you like? Have you been to Africa?
No, I've never been. Especially, I'm really interested in the West Coast, where it's like kind of French. You know, was the experience in any way French other than the name Cote d'Ivoire?
Yeah, I mean, West Africa is a little bit different, you know, a bit more attitude. I think that's what they got, what they inherit from the French. But you really into like African aviation stories as well, right? And you told me earlier about the disappearance of a 727. Is that correct?
You know, sometimes I'm like wide awake at night thinking about this. Do you know of like the Angola Boeing?
Thinking of me?
No, I'm.
Okay, sometimes. I just want to clarify.
But like
no.
In like 2003, there was a 727 parked in like the middle of Angola. At the airport of Luanda, I think it was, and it was stolen and it disappeared and was never seen again. What they did?
Hold on. How do you steal an airplane?
So it was two dudes
of this size.
All right, imagine this. It's like just before sunset, and there's two guys breaking into the airplane. And they just, without clearance, without talking to ATC, they just turn it on and taxi to the runway and just take off into the direction of south. That's all we know. It's so funny.
Hold on. So first of all, you have to break into the airport. You have to get to the sanitized, like, you have to get airside, right?
Yeah.
Okay, talking of Africa back in the days, when I see sometimes what their security standards are, I'm not too surprised by that.
No.
But then they must have run. Do planes have keys? How do you open
No.
A 727.
No, planes don't have keys. All the small ones do. Like a little Cessna will have keys to enter the door and to turn on the ignition, just like an old car. But like a 727 or literally any airliner will have a door that you can just open. Like in fact, there is on every airline. Like for example, let's say a Lufthansa A320 closes down for the night and the crew leaves. They put like a seal sticker on the door, and when they come back the next day, the next crew for the next flight, they will check if the seal has been broken, if anyone has entered the aircraft. Because you can just do that.
That's interesting. But everyone can open a door of a 320 if you want.
Everyone can open the door of the A320. Well, you need a few things. First of all, you need stairs to go up into the plane or onto the door, right? And then you'd need to just open the latch. It's very easy, and then you have to turn it on. And then,
so if I stack a lot of boxes, I can get up there as well. I can open
that's
it, right?
like why airport security is so strict, But yeah, they somehow managed to bypass that. And they just
where were they from? Were they Africans?
One guy was an American flight engineer, so that's why he was kind of pilot capable. And then there was like some guy who was a Congolese mechanic. So this is like two people that are not certified to fly the 727 at all.
So there's literally a white dude and a black dude stealing an airplane.
I can imagine they must have like used the Microsoft Flight Sim 1999 or something, 1990.
But how do you turn on? But don't you need an APU to turn on the engines?
Yeah, it's installed into the aircraft. You can just turn it on if the plane's fueled up.
Because the funny thing is, the DC-8, for example, doesn't have an APU.
Yeah, so you need an air.
So you need an external. Yeah, exactly. Which they carry with them.
Yeah.
But apparently it takes a lot of time, and you have to have it. You let it cool down and such.
Yeah.
But apparently, you need. So like I get into the flight deck of the 727, right? I want to steal this plane. How do I do this? Like, do I turn on the APU first?
Well, so let's say this. First of all, you need to make sure that there's fuel on board. I don't think they had a lot of time for pre-flight checks where they run around the aircraft and see if everything's still intact. I think they just went in and an aircraft is all the same, no matter what. No matter F or Boeing or Airbus, you turn on the batteries, which are hopefully charged, which is also interesting because the airplane, the 727 that they stole, had been sitting on the ground for like 14 months. But, the battery, I guess, was charged. And they turn on the battery, and then what you do is turn on the APU. And do you know how a jet engine starts up at all?
I mean, I've been at the flight deck for a couple of flights. I know they turn a switch.
Yeah, well,
that says one. So ENG1 and ENG2. You hit the switch. Yeah, that's probably the dumbest answer you've heard in a long time.
Well, so a car engine, for example, turns on by it being spun. For either you push the car and make it spin to a certain revolution per minute. Or you use a
jump start,
or you jump start it, or you use electricity, which is what you would prefer, of course. But in an airplane,
so your car has electricity, I guess.
And in an airplane, though, you turn on a jet engine with air. So you pump air, you spin the jet engine with air, and then when it's reached enough revolution, then you start entering fuel, and the engine starts up. So you need an air start. And that's what you use the APU for. The APU, obviously, it brings electricity to the airplane. That's good. But it also brings air. So you turn on the APU air, the bleed, and then that would be able to, when the starter is engaged, to spin the engine up. And that's where you would put fuel in. And then that's when the engine ignites and turns on.
But like in the car, you don't really have an indication how much fuel you have, right? It's programmed in there, right? It's all done manually.
In the car, you mean in the plane?
In the plane, yeah. In the car, you can see how much fuel you have.
You can
by the indication.
You have of course. Do you think an airplane does not have fuel indicators?
Yeah, but do you remember the Gimli glider?
Oh yeah. Well, that was
where they put in the wrong amount of fuel. So the plane believed it had this amount of fuel, but it would just then give you a warning that you lower fuel. But like I never understood that really how that works, right? So I feel like in a car, you can always see on a display how much fuel there is in a tank. You don't have that on an airplane, right?
We do. Yeah, you do. You have fuel indications. Of course you do.
So how did the Gimli glider happen then? How did they run out of fuel?
Maybe during the routine flying, the 767, which the Gimli glider was, right? The plane that was fueled.
Yeah, I mean, I know they did you measure in kilogram, right?
Yeah, so they
fuel.
They had a conversion issue because this was Canada, and it's all weird in North America. They use like the metric system, and yeah. But so I think what happened was that the pilots just didn't notice it until it was too late, because that's you don't you kind of trust the ground guys, or at least that's what they did, and that kind of went wrong, and they ended up landing on like a kart racing track. It worked though, everyone survived.
Yeah,
but yeah, so
it's an amazing story. Yeah, how the plane lit, and they tried like 10 pilots tried to recreate this scenario, and nobody managed to land it.
Maybe I should recreate it.
That's maybe a good idea for your videos. Yeah. The Gimli glider, because because he was a very skilled glider pilot, actually.
Oh yeah,
the Canadian guy.
That's the best one.
And he did a very interesting maneuver, like almost like a crosswind landing, kind of like a glider maneuver where you
slip?
Yeah, something like that.
Slip. Yeah, I'm not really. I'm not too sure. But that was super interesting.
But I'm looking forward to the video tomorrow, recreating the Gimli glider. I should actually Google when the anniversary is of the Gimli glider, so maybe you can then do it yourself.
Yeah, DIY Gimli glider. But yeah, I mean, once again, so this was in Angola, the 727 that had been sitting on the ground for a while, and some people just stole it. Like they tried and they succeeded, but only to a certain extent, because the airplane was never found again, right? So it just took off to the southwest, which is with the Angolan coast, it's like towards the ocean. And then the transponder was off, so it couldn't see on radar. The lights were off. No one saw anything. It was never seen again. It just was never seen again. And like the thing is, people,
maybe it crashed.
Well, duh. But like the interesting thing is that there is a small chance that they brought that Boeing 727 to like a dirt strip, just landed it there, and the idea is that they scrapped the airplane, dismantled it, sold the plane, sold the parts. The problem is that's not very realistic, because every part has a plane's registration on it, so that would be hard. That's really like stealing a car where you still have the VIN number attached to some parts, I guess.
I have two theories. A is that actually never happened. I mean, I heard of the story, right? Yeah, maybe it never happened because it's Africa. Sometimes planes documenting things back in the days. I mean, it isn't really. That's one theory. It never happened, but because the plane maybe someone disappeared, or somehow ended up somewhere it wasn't supposed to be, or whatever, somebody came up with an excuse and said somebody stole the 727. That is one. Or it took off and then crashed. I don't know. People are creative nowadays. Or it crashed into the ocean.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it just crashed into the ocean. The plane was broken, like the avionics and everything. It had been sitting on the ground for so long, and
then nobody cared about the debris. Yeah. Because at this time there probably so much debris washing up the shores of Luanda that people weren't really paying much attention.
I guess. I mean, this is interesting when this plane is I mean MH370, what was it, 370, the plane that disappeared, right? That was
they're starting to search, by the way, again. Did you read the news today?
I mean, the interesting thing about that is that we know it crashed into the ocean. We know about its demise because some parts have been washed up, right? But that's
the Réunion. Yeah. Do I say it properly with my French accent? Réunion. La Réunion.
Anyway, I think, I don't know. But the thing is no plane really has, it really barely happens that a plane disappears, especially nowadays or in the last 30 years. But this plane just was never washed up, was never seen again. So any theory is kind of possible. But yeah, you might be right though about maybe no one like cares. No one cared, and maybe it's like an African thing. Did you have any like weird like safety incidents on all your trips in Africa?
I'd say African aviation is pretty safe. You know, I mean, the airports sometimes are a bit sketchy where you can smuggle stuff in if you want to, but
which is not a recommendation.
They have great fleets, you know. Speaking of Luanda, I was there earlier this year. That was my first trip this year because TAC Angola, the national airline of Angola, they received their first 787-9 Dreamliner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which was meant for, I think, Mongolia Airways.
Oh.
And they received it. I went down there. They have a brand new airport as well, a massive
did they
airport.
Accidentally flew to the wrong place, or why did Angola get the plane?
What do you mean?
Like you meant
Angola? TAC Angola.
Yeah.
We're talking about Luanda, right?
Yeah, but like you said, the plane was meant for Mongolia, but it was...
Oh, right. No. Oh, right. Are you trying to be funny? Ha, ha,
yeah, it was actually a joke. It just went right over your head.
That was a joke. Yeah. Yeah, it went right over my head. You know, sometimes airlines order planes and then they receive them. Yeah. So it was meant for Angola. No, Mongolia. See, you're making me all confused.
Yeah, I see.
They didn't take it, and then it ended up with TAC Angola flying to Luanda to their new airport, and it landed there. And I was invited to the event. It was a lot of fun.
Great.
And a funny thing is, on my way back, so they said, "Josh, can you come to the event?" And I said, "Yes, but you got to fly me in because flights to Luanda are expensive, and I need to be." I needed to be the Seychelles or Dubai. I needed to be somewhere for a flight review. I said, yeah, Mr. Worldwide, the jet setter. I had 114 flights this year. Too much. Wow. But every year I say I'm not going to fly that much, and then I end up flying somewhere. I love airports too much and airplanes, I guess.
Oh.
Yeah. But then they flew me in from Lisbon because TAC Angola flies to Lisbon daily or twice daily. And I said, I have to go to Johannesburg or Cape Town, one of them, to catch my flight to the Seychelles. And they said, yeah, don't worry about it. And then I asked every day, can I have my ticket? Can I have my confirmed ticket to South Africa? And they said, it's all taken care of. Don't worry about it. I wake up the morning I was supposed to depart at 6 a.m. I wake up to a message already saying, oh, Josh, the flight to Cape Town is overbooked by 20 people. And I was like, you invite me. You said you booked my ticket. It's confirmed. And then it happened that you didn't book my flight at all. So I said, you know what? I'm going to the airport now. You're going to sort this out because I'm going to lose a lot of money because I had back-to-back flights, right? And I said, you sort this out because that will cost a lot of money and I can't lose this. And you agreed. We had a deal, right?
That's actually funny.
And yeah, it's very funny. I went to the airport and then I was there, tried to check in. They said, nah, I couldn't check in because I didn't have a ticket.
Oh my
But I already saw like a lot of people being really angry. And then there were Nigerians, as always. Nigerians are warriors. And Nigerians don't take shit, right? Okay. Speaking of African, Nigerians got really rowdy there. Police had to come. By the end, they had to...
We should have done that on Global Airlines.
That was hilarious. Yeah. I've seen this. I can tell you about Air Peace. It was exactly when I was in Nigeria. They were also fighting at the gate.
So you have to give context. Air Peace, by the way, is the Nigerian airline, right? Air Peace.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're talking about TAC Angola, but they had Nigerian passengers there, and they don't, as I said, they don't take no for an answer. Anyways, so TAC Angola stopped talking to me. I don't know what happened, and then I bumped into a pilot.
Okay.
A TAC Angola pilot who was one of my subscribers. And he said, oh, Josh, hey, I watch your videos. What are you doing here? Well, I said, I'm getting on the Cape Town flight, but it's overbooked. And then he said, okay, Josh, let me take care of it. He tried everything. They couldn't get me on the Cape Town flight.
Really?
It was overbooked. It was just
that was the captain? I mean, yeah.
He was a captain. He was not the captain of the
Oh,
flight,
I
but
see.
because they overbooked it, they put people on the jump seats.
Oh my god.
And yeah, and that was just, I said, like, I called then the marketing guy from TAC Angola called me again. He said, Josh, where are you? I'm at the airport. I said, like, there's one more flight to Johannesburg in 3 hours. I don't know. I don't care if I fly cargo or if I stand. You're going to get me on that flight because it's going to be really expensive for me. And so he worked something out. We had to run around, had to get the pilot's permission. And he said, oh, you're going to travel on the jump seat. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm going to sit at the flight deck. But no. So we started boarding, getting on the 737-700. And I went on board and I was already like, they had a third captain. Observing captain at the. I think you have only one jump seat at the 737 flight deck, and then I had to go to the back of the plane and sit with the crew.
Oh, on the flight attendant seat.
Exactly, I was sitting next to the flight attendant, and there was a funny thing. The plane went TAC, so we had to get off the plane. All of us, once again. The crew then exceeded their hours. There was new crew coming, and after 2 hours, we boarded the plane again. They fixed it. And I was sitting in the back with the crew for takeoff. Yeah. And then the service started, and I'm not the kind of guy who just sits there and watch other people work. I can't do this. So you jumped in as guess what I did?
You jumped in as a flight attendant? Did you?
I became a flight attendant.
Wow. Did
and
you put on
there's
makeup?
I've been doing it. No, I didn't put on. I look pretty dumb in makeup and high heels. So, yeah,
I think you'd look great.
It's not.
You'd make a great. You'd make a great.
100%. Yeah. I bet so. Yeah. So I was then working as a flight attendant. I was like getting the meals out, preparing them, and I'm sure that was the fastest service that TAC Angola ever had. But this is like sometimes where I think. Africa is really cool. They have a lot of young people. It's the youngest continent on Earth.
That's right.
A lot of great talent, but then they can't. Sometimes they don't. When it comes to organization and these kind of things, they don't sometimes think through and have a proper plan in place because there was somebody else is going to take care of his ticket, whatever. Like nobody was taking care of it, and it was the same with the Ivory Coast flight. No, sometimes it's just like,
maybe it's your Germanness clashing together with the easygoing attitude of the African. You know what I mean? Maybe it's that.
Not booking a flight. And saying, hey, come to our event, we book your flight, but then there's no flight. I think that's just like really strange.
Yeah.
Really strange.
I've never really been to. I've only been to Egypt, and I had like a bomb threat on board. But that's all that. All the African flight experience.
Oh.
Yeah. So this wasn't like.
Tell us about it.
In 2022, I went to Egypt for like holiday, like just drinking, and we fly back on TUI, and that was not TUI, Condor, which we love, by the way, with the sock livery,
best livery in the world. Shout out to Condor, best livery in the world.
And it was a 757. Which they don't fly anymore, by the way, which is sad. But yeah, it was on the 757, and we're at this airport of Hurghada. And like flying in Egypt is very interesting. I mean, you must know it's very, very secure, right?
Egypt is very, very secure.
Like the airports, at least the touristy ones that I go, like the Hurghada, right? So what happens? Like
I've never been to Hurghada.
Yeah. So what they do is they like multiple times check your passport. Multiple times they check your baggage. They even X-ray scan your check-in luggage before you enter. And this is probably because in 2015.
When did you take that flight?
In 2022. And
say again?
In 2022. And
right, because in 2016 or 17 there was a plane bound for Russia.
2015.
Or 15 that exploded mid-air. Yeah,
they had a bomb
because they suspected there was a bomb on.
Thanks for. I was literally going to say that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's very touristy, and they need to be safe because otherwise tourists won't go. They have this huge problem, and now it's very, very secure. And this is probably why the thing happened that happened. We were bound onto this flight, 757 to Frankfurt from Hurghada in September of 2022, and I go sit in the cabin next to a nice old lady. and I sit down and I fall asleep with my headphones in. And like at some point I wake up again, expecting to be like in the air because I checked my watch. I'd been asleep for an hour, but we're still in the same position. We haven't moved a single inch. And then suddenly the captain comes onto the PA and says, hey guys, sorry, we have to deboard. We found a suspicious item in the front lavatory. And so, yeah, that's the procedure that I guess they are known, that they know in Egypt. So we go out and we are picked up by buses, and we're not brought back to the normal terminal, but rather an isolated, like almost like quarantine-esque extra terminal. And then they would scan all of our stuff and scan us again. And that took like 3 hours. And yeah, that was the thing. The suspicious item was removed, and then we took off with a 4-hour delay. But that's like literally.
You mean the suspicious item was flushed down?
Maybe it was just flushed down. It probably wasn't a bomb, because I mean we never found out. Maybe it was just I don't know, like a perfume.
I'm sure they're just overly protective at this time because
but that's like the only
because of the incident.
Only thing that I experienced. But like that's Egypt. But like on the channel, I sometimes talk about like funny things that happen in Africa. Have you heard about the Angola airplane crash recently?
Angola airplane crash recently. How recent?
Like a few weeks ago, there was an Angola, like a charter,
but not TAC Angola, right?
No, it was a charter plane, ERJ 145, the small ERJ. And
all right.
No,
I haven't heard of it.
So they landed onto a runway in northern Angola at the airport of Dundo, and they landed on a runway that was still under construction, and they landed kind of in the construction zone. They undershot the runway, damaging the landing gear. The plane ended up veering off the runway and bursting up in flames. Everyone made it, but it's like all caught on video. You should take a look at it. Have you not seen it?
Was it? I think it was the foreign minister or something was on board, right?
Some minister was on board. I think it wasn't the foreign.
Yeah. I saw that. But it just looked like any Ryanair landing to me. To be honest.
But like the thing is, it turned out afterwards, and it's like obviously still being investigated because it's so fresh. When when a runway is closed or partly closed, there are the famous X markings on it. You know what I mean? The yellow ones.
Yeah,
the
I've seen them.
ones.
Yeah.
And so the runway there at the Dundo airport, it was only partly closed. They closed the first half of it to do some new asphalt, and the X markings wasn't properly put onto that construction zone closed part of the runway, because there's an ICAO standard, of course, but apparently they didn't really didn't bother to properly mark the runway. But at the
once again sounds very
at the same time though,
specific.
it was also like you know, when they crash, there's always like a cascade of human mistakes. Nowadays, it's mostly human mistakes anyway. The first mistake obviously was by the ground workers who were working on the runway, not putting up the X signs properly to show, hey, this is a construction zone. Don't land here yet. Please land on the other side, like on the other part of the runway that's not closed. But it was also like the pilots that didn't properly read the NOTAMs, you call it, right? You know what NOTAMs are?
Yeah.
They didn't.
Yeah, so of course
the notice
those
to airman
notifications, right?
It used to be a notice to air stations or something. They changed it back to man because I don't know. Yeah, so they didn't read the documentation properly, so both did some weird error. And, I mean, everyone made it, but they destroyed an ERJ 145.
That's very sad. But, like, this is the thing. Like, sometimes, the same with my ticket. No, somebody forgot somewhere that it should have been done. And that is something that that I took away from this experience. But generally, I really there's a lot of great things as well.
Yeah,
When I was
sure.
in Uganda Airlines, the delivery flight, South African Airways, always fantastic flights. Ethiopian Airlines, they're doing pretty good, no?
Yeah.
Aviation in Africa is growing so fast because it's going to be the most populous continent at one point,
Exactly.
I guess, because
Yeah.
such a young, eager minds that really want to make a difference. And I can recommend everyone Kenya is such an amazing country. Tanzania, oh my god, Air Tanzania, the flights that I did there's so many great stories, because sometimes people say I don't like African airlines, which is not true at all. But because we got to a level, right, where aviation is universal, right? It is that laws that apply to German airspace apply equally to African airspace, right? So this is the only industry that works universally, right?
Sort of.
Whatever the laws are very common, like whatever you do with the flight decks or regulations, they are unified, like that.
Of course they are, yeah.
It doesn't matter whether you are in the US, in Germany, or in Africa. And this is already a huge success for Africa, where planes would crash all the time back in the 70s and 60s, where they have a lot of safety issues, and now they're on par. They're on the same level. And we are judging them by those regulations that are in place everywhere else, because safety is important. Doesn't matter whether you're in Africa, you're in Asia, or you're in Europe. Sure. And I think this is where they still have to get used to it, that the laws that apply to London Heathrow, where you want to fly to so badly, they need to be applied in Lagos or in Dar es Salaam or in Johannesburg, where you depart from.
Yeah.
Otherwise, aviation doesn't function. And this is maybe where there's still a little bit of gap in quality about Western operation and African operation, because we've been there a lot longer and they're just getting there. But I think this is the biggest compliment, that they are playing in the same league, with us. And there's obviously still a lot of work, but they're doing really well. And I love it that African airlines, they send their best planes to Europe, while European airlines, we send our worst planes flying to Africa. So it's exactly the same. But I love it, and I can't wait to see. Air Algeria just got their 330-900 Neo.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, watch out for African aviation. They will have the most modern planes in the near future.
Oh yeah, that's a growing continent. It's very interesting.
It is. If there's one country you want to visit in Africa, where would you go to?
I don't know, because I've never really been. I think I should rather start off with South Africa. What do you think about it?
Wasn't your ex-girlfriend from Uganda or something?
No, I think
That was somebody else. Okay.
no, might have been yours. So, no, so I think South Africa is because I'm not like an experienced traveler. I don't know the street. I'm not street smart in terms of street. I think the moment I leave the airport, I will do something wrong. You know what I mean? Or is it that? Or is it? It's probably not that. It's probably not that dangerous or deep, right?
I wonder how you managed to get from Global 380 to your hotel in New York.
Yeah, honestly, New York is probably one of the most dangerous places in the world, anyway. So
It is.
Yeah,
It is. But should we actually get people excited for what we have in store next week?
sure, tell me about it.
So, I mean, there is news about, I'm probably the most famous Qatar Airways passenger, isn't it? We all know that I'm banned by the airline after I did the video back in the day. It's got, I don't know, 25, 30 million views, the video. But there will be a huge update.
Mr.
Yes,
Ronaldo.
there you go. Yeah. Oh, yeah, to an unwanted passenger. Wow. But there is massive developments. So this Saturday, so now it's Sunday.
Yep.
On Saturday, I will drop a very interesting videos. And on that Sunday, we will talk about the video that I drop on Saturday, and it will be really big.
The Qatar story. The Qatar continues.
The Qatar. So will I be unbanned? Will I be further banned? Will I be... What's the next when you banned?
Killed.
Like super banned. Killed, yeah. I'm still
On a
alive
death
by
note.
now. Or detained.
Oh.
And thrown in jail. So let's say there will be major updates and lots of behind the scenes, a lot of juice, because you guys said you love the behind the scenes. And there will be lots of them next Sunday.
Yep, ladies and gentlemen, this I can't wait for it. We're gonna be back in person. By the way, I think this is kind of like doing this voice thing over the internet is fine, but we'll be back with cameras and everything, and we can like cuddle or something like that.
We won't probably cuddle, but we will face each other, and it's a lot more different. The energy is different when you sit in the same room, isn't it?
Yeah. It's my energy transferring to you, like the aura.
Yeah, but I'm glad to see you come and visit me next week.
Yes,
I
sir.
will set up a beautiful podcast studio here. And to everyone listening, if you made it this far, please leave a like, rate us on Spotify, Apple. If you watch on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment, because we're reading them all and we really want to grow with the feedback that you give us. We're still a new baby podcast, isn't that what you say?
Yeah, I'm not really that old either. I'm just trying to get stuff sorted out now on the podcast. So what do you do? I think to the people that have fallen asleep by now, which I think there's like more than like 10 at least.
Hey, wake up! Wake up!
Don't wait.
Hey,
don't
you
wake
there?
them
Yeah,
up.
sitting in 12A. That's what I always do. 12A. You're sitting there in 12A. Wake up!
Don't
We
wake
did
them
sending
up.
fast.
I wish you
All
sweet
right.
dreams of the Qatar.
Right. That's what I do
episode.
on the airplane. I always listen to podcasts and they put me asleep.
Exactly. So, good
Yeah.
night, I should say. Everybody, thank you guys so much for watching this interesting episode of our
Listening, actually, Dad. Yeah.
Listening this time. I'm used to doing videos. So thanks for listening to this, ranting about, or rather nerding about planes, and we will be back next week, everybody.
With a real banger.
Yep. So good night.
Oh, am I supposed to say bye as well?
Ja.
Bye.
Ey, das war voll die gute Episode, hat Spaß gemacht. Oder war okay? Was fandst du?
Ja, super. Kann ich Stop Recording machen?
Ja.